Hello, this is National Chess Master Rats. I'm giving a simul at chess.com. Only 4 people are playing. Let's go back and review some of these games. This is a system that Cheeky uses as black against d4. She's trying it against the system. Hey, I give her credit for that. Not sure what I want to do here yet. Again, try to follow this pattern in order to teach this opening to other people. White can often play the first 10 moves, 11 moves in this thing without thinking. Although you have to stop to think a few times if you deviate. Usually I castle on move 4, but I don't want to deal with an annoying e4 push. Although it might not be so annoying, I just didn't feel like bothering. I'm going to transpose into it anyway. And now I continue my development. Here I think I played c3 a move earlier. Let's see, than I normally do, simply because, no, not this game. Let's see. Now it's my move. I bring the queen out. And let's see what other game. I guess this game. Yeah, this one's gone really quick. He moved very quick in the opening. Hopefully he doesn't stay that way. Okay, now my queen's under attack. So the thing to do is save it. Where do I want to save it to? Come back to... I want to play... What I want to play is f4. Let's go back. Let's look at this game from the beginning. Okay. I play the first moves. He's copying for a while. He stops. And now he's playing. It's kind of like a closed Sicilian in a way. And he's also playing the Botvinnik system, where with this pawn structure, e5, d6, c5 determines the Botvinnik. And now I maneuver for the d5 hole. Here I part with the bishop. It's the only minor piece that can't control d5. And I've gone this way, although that might be premature. But I'm not sure how I get another knight into d5. Now I make a threat. I'm threatening it takes g6. Well, that's not really a threat. I can play bishop e6. Well, for what it's worth, I would have lost a piece if he allowed it. Okay, so now I go ahead and occupy d5. Now what I need to do is save my queen. Now the question is, where do I save it to? I'd like to play f4 with the idea of if I can get f5 in, but there's no guarantee I can get f5 in. And the drawback is that there's a take and nothing is guarding this knight on h4. This knight on h4 is loose to a discovery. The knight moves somewhere. Maybe just take the piece on d5 and come take another one. So what I'm going to do here is put the queen back on c2, move the bishop to f1, and then put my knight on g2, then I get to f3. Okay, let's go back to c2, move on to the next game. Okay, now let's see, let's look at this one. Maybe I already did look at this one, but let's go through it. Yeah, so I'm playing the first 10 moves, and what's important is I play this system to get rid of the bishop on g5, okay? But I wait for black to spend a tempo with h6. I don't take it until that happens. Okay. Now, there was one game where if the long diagonal's open, I don't think I saw the game that quoted. If the long diagonal's open, which this isn't the case, I often play c3 first, just to avoid a potential bishop takes on b2. Now it's my move here, so objectively she's going to go for the kingside attack. And I have to go for the queenside attack. So, since I normally play e4, I'm not going to do it in this case. Why? Because I want to keep the diagonal of this bishop shut. Nothing wrong with her castling queenside, but she should have waited, I think, and developed the bishop and the knight first, and then decided to castle. And but whatever. So I'm going to go with b4 and go for the attack on the enemy king. Or to tick somewhere. Okay, now I haven't seen the h6 move yet, so I just continue with moves I generally play. Okay, it took there. Now, I don't mind this so much. This opens up the e4 square for a piece of mine, and perhaps my bishop. We will see. Not quite sure how I want to do this yet. But the scope of my bishop just got increased for what it's worth. and I'm going to play with that. Okay, so let's see. B5. Okay. How do I want to do this? I can't play bishop e4 right away because he just kicks f5, so I've got to do a little bit of redeployment. If I want to play for, I'm not necessarily I'm sure I want to play for f5 or f4 or f5 now. Objectively, I like to trade the light squared bishops because he's got his center mass on dark. Let's see. Somebody's sending me a Skype. Well, I don't have time to talk to you. I don't know who it is. I think I know who it is. Mouse slip. Well, I make them too. I don't know what you did, but we'll see. Okay. Let's see. So I want to keep. I want to keep. I want to get G4 in at some point. The reason I want to get G4 is to be able to keep a piece on F5. Although, you know, H3, G4, you can still play F5, but that weakens G3, which can be covered. I can play C4 now, but that just allows pawn takes, and get the half open file and counterplay along here. Sometimes this rook gets misplaced on E1. That's why I delay moving it. It's mostly a clearance move to clear F1, which I maneuvered through. Let's see. An idea here. Queen E2. The idea being to play bishop F2 or F3 and bishop G4. Invite him to create a weakness with H5. And I answer B4 with C4. And answer C4, I'll be giving a weak pawn on C4. Okay, let's see. C5 mouse slip. Well, is it really a mouse slip? Or knight D8. Let's see. Not threatening anything. Okay, he's piling up on E4. I'll go here. Okay, so this is what I want. Close the queen side down. Okay, now queen C2. Okay. H5 going for the attack. Okay, fine. Attack me. You're welcome to. Here comes my attack. A4. And let's see. His move there. His move here. I'm not looking through the list for more challengers. You know, I have instructions on the video lesson group wall to send me a chat request. Now I'm not ready to play knight E3, so it might be a case where let's see, bishop, rook there. Okay, that. Okay, at some point there could be a latent push. Uh, as long as my queen stays, let me push a v4. As long as my queen stays on e2, I'm securing b2 in case there's a push. So I go with my plan and play bishop f3. Okay, let's see. I don't think that's a mistake. Giving me 2 pieces for the rook. Okay, let's see. Bishop e7. Now, okay, the question is how to proceed here. I haven't completed my queenside development yet. I think the knight getting to c4 would be a good idea. Let's get the knight developed. Okay. Here comes her attack. Okay. So this clears g2 for the knight. That's one idea. What was one idea? I was trying to reinforce the knight on d5. Okay, so knight takes rook, queen takes, bishop takes bishop. I'm fine here. Okay, there it comes. Okay, now. So maybe black tipped her hand a little bit by castling before I played e4 because I've got an extra piece I can use. Now, if I play knight e4, I'm attacking this pawn on g5. If I play knight c4, I might run into d5, knight a5, b6, which weakens the king position a little bit more, brings their pawns closer for offering trades. How do I want to do it? Knight e4 also invites f5. No, I can't do f5. I take the pawn. Well, I can do it, but let's see. Kind of forces f6. And then what's the follow-up with the knight? I always try to think where these pieces are going next. I also shut down the diagonal of my bishop, and that knight doesn't really get over there. But knight a5, c4 does in some lines go to a5 and cause a weakness. Instinct rules a lot. When I'm playing a longer game, I can sit and come up with these ideas in more form. Let's see. So now I got 2 pieces for the rook, and the rook is loose. Okay, queen c8, stopping my knight move, which is fine. I mean my bishop move, stopping my bishop g4, so I'll just play knight g2. Now if f5, I can put the knight back on h6 or h4. Let's see, knight f5, knight there. Also put it on. Yeah, I'm just going to go with this. Put it on e3 maybe. Okay, what's happening here? Now, do I want to take the bishop or do I want to take the rook? I'll take the bishop because then I'm threatening a mate and the rook. Okay, so now the queen side's about to get locked up. I'm going to send my rook over to d1 to break the pin. Okay. And the pin being the pawn on b2 wants to advance, but then there's a trick with e4. So here, I don't push a pawn. I let black push a pawn. Maybe push the b pawn just to open up a line for the bishop, but where's it going to go? To a5, it doesn't really get in the game unless it's in a minor piece ending. So let's see. I have a threat of mate and the rook. Looks like this game is... Anyway, I have a mate threat, and I'm threatening a rook. So g6, I can play queen h4 and still threaten the rook. Okay, so let's see, do I have a move anywhere? Only 4 games, 2 people coming off the list. One's a student, well actually 2 are students, so they get to play as often as they want. All they have to do is show up. How do you be my student? Well, you take a lesson from me, join the Rat Pack, send me a message if you want. Not sure. Okay, look, we got very symmetrical game here. There comes a time when one side can't be symmetrical any longer. Now, what's not symmetrical about it? The black bishop on c8 is not developed. Do I want to put the rook on e1? Well, I'm not ready to do my maneuvering. I can play knight c4 with impunity and get to e3, so I'm going to do that here. Okay. So let's kind of look at the games time-wise. Got plenty of time there. This one's taking his time. He's taking his time. Looks like they're taking their time. We started this one out really fast. I think I won that game. Okay, 1 game over. What's this alert? What am I getting here? Okay, I can't play another one. Let's see. Okay. Now, like I say, the long diagonal has been taken over. Okay, so she took my knight. I keep the bishop on the long diagonal. Now, am I going to get checkmated over here? Okay, queen c7. Okay, well this kind of helps me what I want to do. I'm trying to trade off the light squared bishop. That's your good piece and my crummy one. Now, if I play here, you can play f5, and I have to come back. And you play g4, and it gets lost. Let's see, maybe I have to preface it with h4 first. Then I have a h3 square to drop back to. I could drop back there right away. Bishop g4, f4, bishop h3. Threatening to lock up this entire game. How about if I just play h4? I kind of like that. Okay, why do I like that? I like it because it clears squares. Well, I made away from the game. It clears a square for my king to go to. My king could march up to h2, and maybe the bishop can go back to g2 and f3. Okay, so I'm kind of following the routine here. Okay, now it created a weakness. Something I was trying to do was create a weakness, although it stops me from playing my knight to, my bishop to g4. but it creates a weakness on G5. So how to get the knight to G5? Well, he's got to get to F3 or E4, and both of those are a long way away. That's what you do. You maneuver in this game. Let's see. Knight E3, F1, H2, move the bishop, knight F3, knight G5. That's a lot of moves. But with the queen side being locked up, it really isn't a lot of moves. Let's see. Another idea is to play for F4 myself, something I was trying to do earlier. Well, I wasn't really trying to do that earlier. I was trying to play F5. I think. Let's see. So I got to keep H2 clear for the knight. So the king doesn't want to go there. So knight E3. Okay, knight E3 and remaneuver. Okay, so this game ended in a... Hopefully I can run through it real quick. And I can't. Okay, rook B8. Okay, so... This kind of position I want to play A4 in. Play bishop H3 here. Try to get rid of my light squared bishop. It's kind of like that. Weakens F3, but he's not attacking it. Something new and unique. Try against the system. Trade off his good bishop. Okay, bishop H3. There comes the attack. Where do I go? G2, I suppose. Okay. All right, so let's see. Oops, don't want to hit that. Hit the wrong tab. Okay, that 3 games going. Let's see if I can run through this. He said something about a mouse slip, but he wanted to do something different. I'm not sure if I quite got what he said. But here I'm just going through maneuvers, and he said something about, I think with mouse slip he meant rook Fe8. I don't know why he went knight C8, but here it's not right to give up 2 pieces for the rook, but you see it has another problem here that he makes is that, I think I was even talking about bishop takes G5 earlier. I didn't even see the whole thing. Let's get back to this. And we can close it out. When he takes on G5, it opens up a twin threat of mine. I'm threatening the rook on A8. I'm threatening a mate. So, Nathan, thanks for the game. Thanks for playing. Let's work on the other 3 games. Okay, so there came F5. Okay. Bishop G2. Let's clear the F file. I have a wait, let's see. No, the knight has F1 to go back to. Okay. I have a feeling that F file is going to open up. He might be trying to lock it up. Okay, so here, if push, I'll put the bishop on H1 and the kingside attack is dead. If take, I take back with the F pawn, then I have to make sure I can cover H2 or get checkmated or run my king out of there. Let's see. I don't. Her queen's out of play getting down to H2. It'll take a while to get over there. So let's see. My knight might be needed on F1 just in case. So it has 2 paths to get there. D2 to F1 and and e3 to f1. So the question is, where do I want my bishop? e3 kind of menaces a pawn, but not yet. I'll put the bishop on e3. Okay. Now we're going through more maneuvers. Okay, first step is to stop e2 in its tracks. And the next step is to get a knight to g5. And it still takes a while to get the knight to g5. So see, knight f1, e4, pawn takes. My bishop can take, and I'm covered. Okay, so knight f1, going through the maneuvering. Wow, he played that quickly. Okay, don't play too quick. Okay, now I'm going to take a diagonal from your bishop. Let's see, queen. Wait, let's make sure. Let's make sure he doesn't have enough firepower on this. Instead of going to h2, I'll go to d2. Now if e4, pawn takes, knight takes. Yeah, knight d2. I'm okay. Okay, here comes f5. Now the plan is f4. Okay, so I'm going to get checkmated here. I can feel it. Okay. Well, got to clear f1. Let's put the rook over here on. What do I want? B1 or C1? Try C1. Okay. Why did I try C1? I'll tell you when I get back there. Okay, now here's my chance to get rid of my light squared bishop. Something I rarely get a chance to do. Let's see. I'm just going to do it for the fun of it, because I can. Okay, bishop f6. Now, queen f1, e4, pawn takes, knight takes. Queen's a little bit in my way here. Okay, queen f1, I might have an option of playing f3, bishop to h3. So what was the game I was saying why I took the knight? I don't remember now what I said. Okay, and I can trade 2 knights right now. I mean, take 2 knights against 2 bishops, and the knights are good here. And usually I part with this bishop, and looks like I'm going to have to if he provokes me. So let's go for it and let him. Knight h4. Can he play d5? Bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes. Well, let him open up with d5. Okay, knight h5. I'm going to try for the 2 knights here, see what happens. Okay, now I've got a square for my bishop to go to. f2. And my knight will come back to f1 if I need to. Could I have taken with the other pawn? I moved that kind of quickly. I know instinct says not to take it because you can often get mated on h1. Here, let's look at it again. You can often get mated on h1, but my bishop's covering it. Well, that's in variations where black is trading the bishop h3 to bishop takes. That's why. So it might have been wiser to take with the h pawn, but I played it. It's okay. Need practice at all these lines. Okay, so it's somebody moved. Who moved? Okay, he did. Okay, now f4. Trying for f5. Let's see, f4, h6, bishop takes. Knight. Yeah, you could do it. Okay, d5. So I want the knight on a5 and go for the attack, or do I want on d2 to defend? I don't want to get checkmated. You scare me. Okay. Knight D2. Oh, yeah, go to F1 if need be. Okay. Now you play king there. Now let's see. The question is, does he ever get E4 in? Only if I let him. Okay, I've got 1, 2, 4 pieces on it. He's got 3. So if I move my knight to F3, he can play E4. But can he survive it? Let's see. Not quite sure what I want to do here. Not quite sure what I want to do here. Let's see. I have 80 minutes. That's plenty of time. I could play F4, inviting E4. Pawn takes, knight takes, F4. He can't play E4. He can take. I take his rook. I give him the E4 square, though. Got some more maneuvering to do here. This game's locking up. Not sure what's happening here. Bishop H3. Okay, knight H4. Now I can play. Oh wait, he's trying to trap my bishop. Okay. G4. So his threat is to play bishop here. If I play F5, he plays F6. My bishop's trapped. What was my last move? F4. Okay. Let's see. Play G4. Knight takes. Pawn takes. Bishop takes. Yeah, got to do it. At least G4 is covered by my knight on E3. And if F6 I take, he takes. That should be okay. G4. Okay. Maybe I have to switch plans here and play for the G4 break. There's not too much happening here. My move, here it comes. Okay. There's no point in taking that critter. Let's back it up. Okay. By that I mean it just brings another pawn into the fray and takes one of my pawns out. See, if I take, she takes. Clears a square for her pieces. Clears a square for the knight to get to E5. You know, don't give your opponent more mobility. So I should be well defended here. Let's see what's happening in these other games. Bishop H3. I'm trying to induce F4. Trade the bishops, plunk my knight on E4. I'll find something to do there. So here it goes with my intention. I said I was willing to give up the 2 bishops for the two knights, play the two knights against the bishops, because in this King's Indian system, or Bark's attack, if you prefer that, the bishops are the knights are valuable pieces. They can just run around the board, and the bishops don't have open lines, and often two knights can dominate two bishops, and got to experiment. You're trying to show different things so the people looking at these games can take my strategies into their games and play accordingly. So, somebody just moved. I'd stepped away from the computer a moment. Let's see. Okay, wanting to take my knight off, which is going to defend f1. How dare you? Okay, let's see. If I play knight f1 right away, do I run into a problem with f3? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't want to take the pawn on a7. Bishop gets trapped. Now, this also exposes a flaw in the idea of putting the rook on c1, because if I play knight f1, there's a discovery on the rook. So I'm going to admit my mistake that I put the rook on the wrong square and put it there. Okay, good. I got something to break here. Got a target. Now, okay, let's see. This bishop just got activated. All I can do is pin a knight. Okay, so I'll take it and wait developments. And I'm going to get the light squared bishops off. Okay. I've got to think about this. Do I want to... My queen is covering my bishop on h3. Don't make exchanges that improve your opponent's position. Let them make exchanges that improve yours. How can I pile up on that pawn on e4? Take the bishop is one way, and then put the queen on g2. But then e3 comes. Put the queen on e2. And if e3 comes, I take, and I can win 2 rooks for the queen. I'm going to take a walk here. Okay, open the door, shut the door. So, getting attacked in one game. Going to play 2 knights against 2 bishops in another. And in the other game, we've got 4 files on the queen side locked up. So, I'm not playing 100% because I'm playing 3 games. I'm sure I could find better moves in every game if I was playing one-on-one, but that's okay. I still give you a decent struggle, and you get to play a long time control game with a strong player, so objective achieved. Okay, let's see. Shut the door. Door's shut. Door's locked. I'm thirsty. Do I have anything? I don't think I have anything but water. Oh well. There. So the black bishop can go to c3 and trade it off. I'll trade off my knight rather. And let's see, queen g2. Oh, wait, bishop takes, queen g2. Now I'm attacking the pawn 3 times. e3, rook takes, pawn takes, rook takes. Now his rook is infesting my position. Let's see. Going back to the line where I put the queen on e2. I can't put the queen on e2 unless I trade bishops. Let's see. Queen g2, going to get e3 in. I'd like to get the knight to f1. Not sure how to do that. Let's see. Bishop takes e7. Queen takes. Do I need to worry about allowing his queen into h3? The answer is he might play bishop c3, driving away a defender. I can't take that pawn on e4. It's poisoned. Okay, so put the bishop back on g2. I can then put the bishop on f5 and further guard that pawn, but it's isolated pawn. My knight wants to remaneuver. I need the knight on e3, and I can't get there. Queen g2, e3, pawn takes. Rook e2, e3, knight f3. Yeah, rook e2 breaks a pin. Oh no, it walks. No, it doesn't. I'm fine because he can't play bishop g4. Well, he can. I take it. He takes, and I pile up on that pawn on e4. So rook e2. He could still play e3, but I just let it sit there. And I move my knight somewhere and let him take and activate me on the f file. Okay. So now I part with the bishops. Okay, now I take with the bishop here, I think. That pins the e pawn. Okay. Got to keep that queen out of the game. Guard h2. My knight's ready to come back to f1 if need be. Boy, my queenside attack is not really started. Okay, let's see. Okay, took. Now I take back with the queen. Now I'm ready to play what? Knight f1. Yay, hooray. Blockade that pawn. So e3 is probably needed here. But I can still, let's see, knight f1, e3, pawn takes. Yeah, knight f1 is the only move here. Okay, he's got no targets. If I get the knight into e3, I'm sitting fine. Okay, what happened here? Am I going to walk into a fork? I'll be darned. Shoot. Okay, give him credit for finding a move. Let's see. Gonna have to go for the attack here. Let's see. Rook takes. G4. I think I have to jettison a piece here. Let's see. How do I want to do it? I don't have to jettison a piece. I can play knight g2 and give up the pawn. Yeah, that's the only way. I shouldn't give up a piece. I mean, I can play a knight into f5. And I have a terrific outpost, and it's almost tempting to do it. Knight f5, pawn takes, knight takes. But then I don't have an open file. If I take with the pawn, I have an open file, but I don't have a good knight, so I'll jettison the pawn and see what happens. Better give up a pawn than a piece. Okay, he did play e3. However, now I may have what I want here. There's no rule making me take that pawn. I can play f4, and then my knight can go to h2 and f3 and g4, g5, and that pawn on e3 can become a weakness. He can't evict my rook from e2. The question is, do I want to play f3 first and then later play f4? I like f4 because it takes e5 away from him. And I think I can surround that pawn. f4. Okay, f4 it is. Okay, here comes what? Bishop f4. Well, we let him take. I don't know. Am I playing this too defensively? I still haven't started my attack. Well, best offense is a good defense. I'll just put the knight on f1. Batten down the hatches on h2. And go from there. Now let's see. Did I play f4 yet? Yeah, I did. Okay. So there's no stopping me from getting my knight to h2 and then to f3. And when I get to g5, I'm threatening to stick it on e6. And from e6, that pressures e3. e3 may fall. And if he trades the knight on g5, I can take with the h-pawn and still may be able to generate something with g4 down the line. As well as work on that pawn on d3, e3. I can get... He's going to have to put a rook on e4 so he can triple. But I think we'll see how it goes. That's all he can do is try. I don't think I'm losing, and that's one objective. Don't play something to lose. So rook e2, it took a little work to find that move, but it made sense. It broke the pin, bishop c3 to e1. It put on a square. He can't attack it. He can't shove his pawn any further. And where else can my knight menace that pawn on e3? Ideally c2, because there it's pressuring e3 as well as hitting d4. So how does it get to c2? By way of e1. To get to e1, you've got to get to f3, and I can do it. Hey, knight eg2, knight f3. Okay, now here we take with the pawn. And I've got the hatches battened down. Okay, put the rook on e4. Now my knight goes to h2. And eventually it's going to find its way to c2 or g5. Not sure yet. We'll see when it gets there. Queen e7, knight f3. Okay, let's see. check. Where'd that come from? Oh, my king has no move. Okay. Just got to play e3. Okay. Cheeky, you've been holding out on me. You're killing me here. But neither of us have complete development. I got the mating squares covered. Okay, got the attack broken here. Next, I need to be playing for stuff like c4. Now I've got them all the critical squares covered. Black needs to get a knight to f5 and then pressure g3. That's my weak square. I think I'm holding on. d4. Okay. Well, what's good about this is that if I don't take, well, let's see. And she takes it. If I push e4, I block my own bishop in. I got to take with the e pawn, then push c4. Okay. Went ahead and played that. Now we go through the maneuvering. Knight goes to f3. Okay. Okay, thanks for not taking my pawn and holding on to that one. So, I got to hold on to my pawn. h3, it's attacked twice. Okay, so I'm down a pawn here. No big deal. Now we push by and see what happens. Okay, queen there. Now I can get the knight to c2. The bishop goes back to g4 or d4, putting a fourth defender on that pawn. I could also play moves like f5 here. F5 gives black g4. Black can't really make any progress, so I can do what I want to do with a certain amount of impunity here. Let's see. King g2, rook h1, knight g5. Then if pawn takes, I take with the h pawn. I'm getting ready for g4, but that weakens f4. Maybe I can't make progress here. How can I attack that pawn? Let me count the ways. Get the king to f3. Trade the bishop for the knight. Get the king to f3. Oh, that's risky. Double the rooks. Bring the queen back to g1. The pawn falls. And the black king has no entry squares. And then I have to create entry squares so my king can get in. He can't really make progress here, so let's see. What if I just move the king up? I'll wiggle waggle a little bit, let him wiggle waggle, I'll improve my position. King g2. Okay. Now rook went there. Now the idea is what? To sack on f1 to removing a defender? Well, makes sense. Okay, I need to open up some lines. c5 will drive the queen back closer to where it wants to go and prepares me for b5 because I got to break open some lines over here. Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, so I've given up a pawn that I can't yet take back. Queen c7. Now, finally, I get my attack rolling. Okay. Wait. Okay. GB5. What about rook takes? Rook takes. Queen takes g3. Now the threat is queen check, and my king runs. Okay, we'll see what happens. Okay, let's see. It's not making progress. Anyway, plenty of time on the clock. 73 minutes. 41 moves in this game already. My goodness, I had no idea it was that many moves. Okay, so bishop g4. Well, knight here to here. And we gotta maneuver knights in this game. I don't want to trade my knights off. Knight f3. Okay, see, there he goes shuffling. Okay, now, is it useful for his queen to be on g4? That is the proverbial question. Queen could probably get over there anyway. I can't believe we played 41 moves. We're both playing way too quick. Of course, I can always play rook to d3 to increase the pressure on that pawn. Let him wiggle waggle a little bit more. Let's do that. Let's put the rook on d3. Okay, queen e5. Does that give up a pawn? Maybe. Of course, on c5, I'll take this, open up, gotta get some open lines. Okay, this has played 28 moves. Man, I played these simuls too quick. 21 moves. I had no idea it was going this much, and the simul's barely over an hour old. Okay, so I wiggle waggled again. Okay. Knight g5 takes. I get my king to. I don't want to take a draw. I want to play. Knight g5 takes on h5. How about if I go back to the plan of putting the knight on c2? Because there he has to park his bishop on e2 or d4, and I can start doing some maneuvering. Knight c2 or knight e1. Okay, queen back to d8. I got my pawn back. Although I have to ruin the idea of having the two bishops, but that's okay. Knight takes g5, queen takes, knight takes f4. Okay. Okay, there he played it. But now your bishop's stuck there. Okay. Okay, now how to take? With the rook or with the knight? How about with the rook? There we go. Work the rook. Okay, did he move? No, he didn't move. There he did. Okay, so I can create a new target the pawn on d4. Let's see. I mean, by taking the bishop. I mean, I've got his bishop stuck in there. Let's see. I got 3 attackers on the pawn on e3. He's got 4 defenders. I can get one more attacker on it if the queen's on g1 and the king's on f3. And then it falls, unless he gets some kind of a dastardly queen g4 check in. King f3. I have to be very careful of the king on f3, because when my queen vacates, he threatens queen g4 check. My queen needs to cover the rook. And I'm going to play it. King f3. Maybe I'll offer queen trade. Oh, well, he can't. He can't play queen d7. Okay, so king f3, king g7, queen h1, queen d7. Now I have three attackers on the pawn. Wait, where'd this king come from? Let's do this. King f3, king g7, queen h1. Now queen d7, threatening a check. I can play knight takes, and you can't do the check now. Have to stop and play bishop takes. Now I take with the rook, and here comes the queen check, and I put the king back on f2. Wait a minute. Yeah, I put the king on f2. Now my knight is pinned against my rook. I'm not sure how I relinquish that. Let me peek at these other games. If one thing, I have plenty of time in all these games. Let's see. d5. Okay, this gives a chance to isolate some black pawns. Also gives me a chance to develop my rook with tempo. And protect my rook and free my knight. So let's do this under General Chess Principles 101. Okay. Bishop takes c6. Threatens a check. Threatens to take the knight. Removes my defender on h1. Okay. Queen h1, queen d7. He's going to come into g4. I got to play it. King f3. And then maybe, oh maybe, I can find a winning maneuver here. See, if I take on d4, takes back with the rook, then I'm threatening to take. See, knight takes, rook takes. I can chop this off in that position because I've got the hatches battened down. He puts the rook back. They can't put the rook back, and I win. So go from there. Let's see. I'm attacking his rook. We play f5. I don't know. I want to follow up with h4 at any point. I don't know. Okay, take your time, Carly. Let's see. Down to 4 pawns each. Okay, they played there. Avoiding the isolated pawns and battening down the hatches. So, okay, knight e3. He's not threatening pawn on a2 if there's an exchange. Knight e3. I gotta get that knight into play, or do I want to play h4 here? Let's see, h4, where's he put the queen? Gives me a chance to play g5. Gosh, my king side's open. h4 looks positionally sound. It gets ready to push g5 and restrains his pawns a little bit. h4 it is. Okay. We got him thinking here. Another thing is if I trade on d4, knight takes, if he takes with the pawn, or he takes with the rook and I take, he could have some passed pawns on the run. Threat d3 followed by d2. It's risky to put the king on f3, but I'm kind of fishing around here trying to find the proper continuation. But 45 moves, oh my god, we're both playing way too fast. See, we should have both spent most of our allotted time, had about 10 minutes on the clock. So, had more people played, there would have been a that would have been way behind in time on this game. Okay, he's taking his time. She's taking her time. So let's see. Queen takes. c5. Let's see. Queen back. Now I play g5 just to get the pawns on the opposite color of the bishop, take some control, some dark squares, and see what happens. Okay. Seven pawns to 7 pawns. I might try to play e5 next, followed by d4. And then that gives up f5, but I can chase the bishop out. I'm not sure what I want to do here. If it takes the pawn, I take back with the rook, pinning the bishop, then the knight can come into f5. Okay, here comes the mate. Where's the mate? I don't know where the mate is. I got the hatches battened down. I want to play rook b7 here. Take the knight with check and then check on b7. Oh, I can't take the knight. I'm going to weaken h1. Oh, look at that. That rook on f8. He's cutting me off. She's cutting me off. Okay, so got to keep the bishop. What about the threat of rook takes check? If rook takes, queen h1 is mate. No, it isn't, because my king gets out. And I don't know what I want to do here. I'm going to run and hide. Bishop g2. Okay. Since there's not many games, I think I'm just going to play this quickly so I can get it over with. If it means I give up a draw or two, it means I give up a draw or two. My God, I'm thinking on that move. So I've got 4 attackers, he's got 4 defenders. I need one more and it's mine. But it's not so easy. I have a new plan as I'm just gaining time here. He can't do anything. What if I march the king to B1? I was thinking of this earlier. I didn't say it. March him to B1. Just get him out of the way. Then, to do that, I have to back the knight up, but only for a moment. Oh, actually, I don't have to back the knight up. I can just get him over there indiscriminately, right? Excuse me. But the idea is to get the king to D3. That's the idea. Reverse things. Let's get the king to D3, and then let's put my rook on D3 on F3. Ha ha ha. Of course, then I'm still not getting enough attackers on E3. My queen... Maybe I get the queen to F3 instead. Then where does the rook on D3 go? Can't go to E1. He gets bothered by the bishop. So, not quite sure. Not quite sure on this one. Okay. Let's peek at these other games. Okay, so for what it's worth, I've got a good knight against kind of a bad bishop. It's looks like we call it a tall pawn. You know, bishops are similar shape to a pawn, and they're taller than a pawn. And when they're caught in the middle of a pawn chain like this, you know, look at 6 of black's pawns are connected. If that was a pawn there on E6, you know, black would have this pawn structure where he's got 3 pawn chains: C6, B5. Can you do that? You can't do that. I knew there was a danger putting the king there. Okay, suppose I ignore it. Okay. What do you do next? Let's see. Pawn takes, queen check. The king has to go to G3. Takes the rook on the knight, or on the rook. I get a check with my queen. What if I take with the king? Do I get checkmated? I didn't even see this coming. Okay, let's see. Pawn takes. King takes. Queen E4 check. Still, if anything, he wins the rook. Hey, I gotta run. Okay. You can run, but you can't hide. Okay. Okay, what's he doing? Rook back to F1 or F8. That's a move. Okay. Is he trying to play F6? Probably. So let's nip that in the bud. Okay. Oops. Mouse slip. No, that's where it came from. See, I hate when I pick up pieces. I guess I coincide with somebody else doing something. Rook F6. Clears F4 for the knight. I don't care so much if I get an isolated E-pawn. Okay. Knight there. What's the threat? Knight F3 check is the threat. I'm so busted here. Let's see. Okay, what to do here? Well, I can't move the knight. It's guarding a mate on h2. Maybe I have to check and... transfer the queen. Let's try that. Bishop check, king moves somewhere, queen g2. Now the queen's covering g1. Okay, I think that might be the only chance here. Check. Oh, you're going there anyway. Phooey. Yeah, just resign this game. Good game. Okay. I don't want to see what's going on here. Outwitted myself in that one. Okay. Let's see. What's happening here? Up. So I get the d5 hole. I knew that putting the king on f3 was risky. I just didn't expect a rook sacrifice. You see it's locked up here, and I'm trying to just maneuver. Little by little. Let's see. I just get this knight over to c2. And... he has to shuffle. That's a mistake. Boom. Okay. Let's see. What about knight takes here? Okay. Knight takes. If you take with the rook, I knew you need to take. Now, like I say, there's a danger here. I can't do that. Probably just had to hold the position, call it a draw. No big deal. I'm here to play. Teach you guys something, let you have some fun. Okay, so bishop check. Here the idea is to get the queen to d3. Or down to d3 to g2. 2 games left. Okay, he's got 41 minutes. Okay, somebody moved. Okay, check. Now the queen comes to g2. Voila. Now knight check, bishop takes, pawn takes. I can put the queen on h2. Hooray. Okay, so pawn up, but under pressure. Let's see. Okay, now trying to get another knight in play. You would do that to me, wouldn't you? Okay, preparing to free the knight. Now if I play queen h2, I run into rook takes h1 or f1 check, and I can cry. So let's just put the bishop on e4. Nice central square. Okay, now d4. What if he plays bishop h3? I play d5. That lets him get rid of my knight, but I've got a nice position, and c6 is weak, so e5 it is. If he plays c5, I play d4. Uh-oh, here's the check. The dreaded check, okay. takes. I'm not going to send her a message. Oh my God, you're scaring me to death. Okay, that helps me a little bit because I think I have to play Queen H2 here, right? Now Rook F1 is not possible. F2 check, King 8 F2. Oh my God, I'm busted here. No, I go with H1. He still plays Queen F3 check. Ah, I'm dead. Okay. You got me. Good job. I would say something, but yeah, F2 check. I missed that. Ah, goodness gracious sakes. Oh my goodness. Well, I made her day. Okay, I'm out of moves. I'm out of moves. King G2, Queen F3 is kaboom. King H1, Queen F3 is kaboom. I've been so afraid, so scared in this game. Are you going to talk to me? Okay. Well, let's see what's happening in this other game. I got the rook planted on F6. I'll let her checkmate me. Gotta let her checkmate me. Okay. Okay, you got checkmate. Checkmate in one. Queen F3. You found it. Oh my goodness. I got my rear end handed to me here. What can I say? I thought I was covering all the. I thought I was covering it. Thought I was covering everything, but I wasn't. Okay, I'm down to one game. What's happening here? I think I hear a click, but I had to let you checkmate me. Okay, so you played there. Now I bat. Oh, I can't play D4. You know what I can do? I can do an exchange sacrifice. Get my knight into play. I'm going to do that. Just to have fun. Because I'm here to have fun. Rook takes. Then I'll play D4. Then I'm going to win that pawn on F4 with my knight. Or on F5. You put the feather in your cap. Alright, taking it here from this game. Trying to type something. I don't know why it's damn cap locks. Okay, let's see. Keep this game open for a while. Okay, what's happening here? You declined the... You're going to give me a free piece? Oh my goodness. You had to take it. Now I get a piece. I'm a sport. Take the rook. I don't want to give up my pawn on e5. I mean, this is just for target practice, isn't it? Chess is target practice. Oops, wrong button. Oh man, I got annihilated. Good game, Carly. Great game. Not good game, great game. 36 moves. Okay, what happened here? She tried... Oh, back to this. Okay. If you're not going to take my piece, then I don't know what to tell you. I'm just going to save it. I'm going to put... Where do I want to put my rook? F3, my path for a knight will be E3, G4, and H6. Or do I want to try to break with E6 at some point? Yeah, let's triple up the stuff. Okay, so I'm down to one game. Let's go back to this. So I was always... I said more in the video. I'm just kind of like in awe here. This girl knows her chess. She's been holding out on me. Okay, let's see. I opted to put the knight on C4 rather than E4 because it kept my diagonal open. I remember saying that. Now she took. Okay, fine. And now bishop E3, F5. And I lost the tempo with that rook later, it turned out. Now I could take with the H-pawn. Maybe I need to take with the H-pawn. I forgot the system here. You only have to batten down the hatches on H2 because H1 is covered. Often it get mated down there. So I took with the F-pawn on instinct. Whoops, there's that. Okay, so I'm going to triple because I can. Let's get back to this game. And, I was trying to get my attack going. I played a couple moves, and I just couldn't get it going. It was like I was always responding to hers. Here it comes. Now there's possible discoveries on the rook on C1, so I slid it over. And I took with the bishop. I think I've got two bishops pointed at the king. White's got every reason to be optimistic. But at the same time, the black attack just doesn't stop. Bishop F4. Now I get the knight to F. He's there to help anchor down H2. And I take with the pawn. Now the check. I didn't think much of the check at first, but it turned out it was okay. And I take that and I push by. Now got to be careful about potential stuff on the F file, like rook takes F2 at the wrong moment. I shut the queen off, actually drive it closer, but I got to get my attack going at some point. And, I was thinking, well, maybe she takes the pawn and tries to hold a draw, but bingo. Okay. Knight E5 is just a good move. And I don't know, I'm probably busted here. So I get a check. I transfer the queen to G2. Seems like the defense is all here. But no. Here comes that. Maybe bishop E4 is the wrong move. It's not being threatened. But then knight F5 is coming, I'm thinking. And bang, here comes the check. I could move the king, I suppose, but then I walk into discoveries. Uh, tempo on the queen. The queen has to cover h1. That's forced. Then comes this check, and it's over. I'm mated. Unless yeah, queen takes f2, queen h1 is mate. King, so let her mate me. Oh, that game ended. Looks like the simul is over. Okay, so quick simul. Only 4 games. Get a 2-2 score. I clearly was not on top of my game today. That's no excuse for the games I lost. But the fact that I was playing too quick. I mean, well, they were too. They're guilty of that too. But he wasn't. He took his time. Good job. I'm glad we got to play. And here I experimented. I wanted to give up the light squared bishop, but you see, this is a good move. You know, I'm pretty much forced to give something up here. And knight takes f4. That's the right play. And if now I can't take the pawn, I get forked. So I elected to save the piece rather than sacrifice one. But you know, I think you're going a little astray here. You probably don't want to play g5 and try to hold on to that pawn, and my knights will get strong. Just need to take this pawn on g4. It's that simple. You take the pawn on g4, you're fine. Then if you have to play defense for a while, you play defense. But not taking it was the critical mistake you made. Because now I defended it, and I'm going to get it back. And suddenly I'm quite in the game. I shove your queen back. I get the f6 square. You can't play f6. And I sacked the exchange here with the idea that I want to have some fun. You know, you didn't take. Let's examine that. I gave you another chance to take it. Okay, if you take, now, I want to get my knight into the game. How do I do that? Well, he's got to get probably to g4. But first I have to play d4. Okay? Now, you need to try to get rid of this rook. That's easier said than done. You got to get a rook to e6, or park your king in the corner and get a rook to g6. And these plans give me time to do things. You know, it's a sacrifice played on intuition. But I can take this pawn, and now you're trying to swing things over. Now I'm getting closer to getting a knight where I want it. Okay, let's go ahead and try this. And now knight g4. Okay, so you trade off a rook. I can take back with the knight, and you can't stop mate. So, you know, it's an interesting thing. I like to cover it more, but I'm just going to conclude this video. The simul lasted just under 2 hours. The video lasted just over an hour and a half. It was 4 interesting games. I thank everyone for playing, and thank you mostly all for watching. Okay.